good evening and welcome to Atlantic Television's Press Roundtable. Press Roundtable is a convergence of media practitioners who dissect news and current affairs to provide the right balance. Today on Press Roundtable, we will be discussing so many stories. First, Imo State, photo final year students stabbed to death. Economic down, hardship will end soon, FG tells aggrieved Nigerians. In Kano State, police arrest 132 armed robbery suspects, illicit drug dealers and kidnappers. Plus, banditry, defense minister calls for increased military operation against insurgency. Okay, a quick break now, and after the break now, I'm going to introduce the guest that we have today. Just stay tuned.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN. From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy. Stay focused today, only on ATN.
Good to have you back on Press Roundtable on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Angel Umokoma, and this evening I have a wonderful personality here. His name is My Ace China. My Ace China is a media practitioner as well as he is also a real estate. Yeah, he's into real estate and mayor of housing. He is right here in the studio. Mayor, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you. You're looking good. You're looking good.
Angelic.
Thank you.
I know a lot of angels, but you're the only angelic one.
Oh my God, thank you so very much. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a lot of stories to look at. Now, first of all, we want to look at the stories. In Imo State, a photo final year student stabbed to death. The Imo State Police Command on Friday said a 22-year-old Chinagoro Marvelous Kingsley, a final-year student of the Federal University of Technology, was stabbed to death by a 300-level student of the Imo State University, IMSU, Francis Marvelous, a 21-year-old, last Thursday night. The State Police Public Relations Officer PPRO Henry Okoye confirmed this to newsmen in Owerri. He said it was as a result of heated argument between Chinagorom and Francis that led Francis to use a knife to stab Chinagorom to death. However, the police dismissed the reports that Chinagorom was stabbed to death by an Hausa Fulani person. He continued that the Commissioner of Police has directed the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of the State Criminal Investigation Department to take charge of the case and ensure that the suspect involved in this case and others fake news are arrested and made to face the full wrath of the law. According to the police, operatives of the Imo State Police Command have arrested an alleged 300-level students of Imo State University, IMSU Owerri, named Francis Marvelous Male, 21 years, who hails from Ehimemba, non-local government area of Imo State, for allegedly stabbing to death Chinagoro Marvelous Kingsley M., that's male, 22 years, who is a final year student of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri Futu, and a member of the university's Man O War unit. Now, the arrest was a sequel to a swift response to a distress call received from the Chief Security Officer, CSO of Futu, retired DSP Patrick Egu, by police operatives on convoy patrol, who promptly arrested the suspect, who was almost lynched at the scene by an angry mob. The body of the victim was recovered and rushed to Federal Medical Center, where he was confirmed dead and deposited at the mortuary. Now, on interrogation, the suspect confessed to the crime, admitting that he had a heated argument with personnel of the university's man-o-war unit on 29th March 2024. No, that's February, yeah, 2024. And so he mentioned three others. He said they had the problem, which he brought out a knife he neatly concealed in his trousers and stabbed the victim to death. He later mentioned three others who were with him during the fight. They include his brothers, Francis, Promise, Prince, and a man popularly known as Soji. He continued that efforts are on top geared to arrest the suspect at large and ascertain their involvement in the case. The suspect will be arraigned in courts upon completion of a comprehensive investigation by the State Criminal Investigation Department, State CID Owerri. I don't know if you follow up this really nasty story happening in the university, Federal University of Technology, whereby a student nabbed, killed a fellow student. What do you think you can see about this? Is it because of the state of economy? Is it because of what is actually going on? What could it be? Is it because of drug abuse? So I'm wondering what could have really pushed this young man to take away the life of another man.
I'm sure he's already regretting that, but I also knew that you go to the economic downturn. And most times these outbursts of violence are usually as a result of multiple factors. Anger cannot be ruled out. Hunger from the economic situation, as you said, cannot be ruled out, because you know that hunger exacerbates anger.
Yes.
So if the person had been an impulsive, angry person with hunger and then frustration, and you also mentioned something about drug use, the percentage of drug use among our young youth is worrying. Before now it was at 1.2% in Africa. Right now it has risen to almost 15% in Nigeria, and that's high.
Quite.
15% means that almost 2 out of every 10 youth is a drug user, and that's very worrying. So this is not far-fetched from these factors, but it's all, whether these factors or not, it shows that we have a lot of work to do. A lot of work. We cannot just keep blaming individuals for their crime. We should also make sure that the enabling environment for such tantrums and such extreme violent dispositions of behavior are reduced.
Let me now take it back a little bit, because the story has it that the guy had a problem with the man-o-war, the university man-o-war, where the guy belongs to. Okay, so I think is it a retaliation or what? Because it was a previous argument. They had an argument, and he also had a problem with those people.
Yes.
Now,
once you hear man-o-war,
okay.
The man-o-war are usually the disciplinary system. They are like paramilitary, just like the scout and other things. So probably the man-o-war are like a vigilante group that is helping sanitize or try to regulate the school environment. So when he had an argument with them, it's probably because he was doing something a little bit delinquent.
Okay.
That was against the law, and the man-o-war came to exert their authority and force of law. And he got angry, went back, armed himself with a knife, because he said it was neatly concealed in his trousers, and then came back to show the man-o-war guys who is boss. And then this is unfortunate, because for me it's actually loss of two people, because the person that is we lost the life is the loss of one youth. The one that will also be going to prison is the loss of another youth. So, and it might be for something as cheap as drugs.
And in what areas do you think that this can be minimized?
For me, engagement, I always say this, the most viable potential of Nigeria is the youth. We have a population of almost 60% youth, and they are not fully being engaged. No employment, no artisan job opportunities, no involvement. So the youth are like the lost segment of our society. So with frustration, that's why the drug use is increasing. They see themselves being lost in this whole equation of national or national inclusion. Politicians, leaders are there, parents are there struggling, they are here lost. So as long as you have an idle mind, they say it's the devil's workshop. So if you see everything that used to engage the youth in those days, sports is dead in the country, inter-house games are dead, interstate games. There was a time that interstate football games, interstate basketball games, quiz competition, there are little or nothing to engage the youth. And there is even a recent mental disorder called digitophrenia.
Okay.
Digiphrenia, that's what digiphrenia. Digiphrenia is a disorientation that comes from addiction to digital content. So because these youth are always on the internet, seeing people doing well in other countries, they feel that maybe they are not doing well. With high content consumption, with low physical engagement and meaningful engagement, you begin to see a lot of such tendencies to drugs and this kind of things.
Well, at this point, I want to commend the security agencies and Imo State for fishing those people out. And at the same time, we urge the Federal University of Technology, because they need to also beef up their security to checkmate those people who are in school, you know, all the students, in order to make sure that they are not really having any armor, they are not really having any weapons.
But as I said, this is not a gun.
Okay.
It's a knife. Every student,
so
it's not a secondary school.
Okay, so
it's
like
a
everyone.
University.
Okay.
When you are in the university, you don't have a kitchen knife you were using to cook your small indomie.
Oh, of course.
So yeah, so for me, it's not really that of, I think, more of orientation than just security, because I think for them to have a man o' war in the system in the school, and if you heard the news very well, it was the CSO, the chief security officer of the school, that called the police. So they might have adequate security.
Okay.
But this disposition of using household utensils as a weapon is actually more than just security.
Anyway, okay, we also have other stories. Economic downturn, hardship will end soon. FG tells aggrieved Nigerians. Now, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, on Thursday assured Nigerians that the narrative on the current hardship will be different within the next 1 year. Idris spoke at the 50th anniversary lecture of Punch Nigeria Limited held at the Civic Center, Ozumba, Mbadiwe Road, Victoria Island, Lagos. The minister, who represented President Bola Tinubu at the lecture by the Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka, assured Nigerians that Tinubu would deliver on his campaign promises while appealing for patience. And he said, of course, the challenges are going to be there. No one is pretending that they do not exist. But we see a situation where the story will be quite different in another 1 year. The information minister urged Nigerians to take a cue from Soyinka, who said he usually waited a year before assessing a new government in power. Maybe go back to what Professor Wole Soyinka said when he visited President Bola Tinubu. I listened to the journalist who was asking him to comment on the current administration, and what he said, even in my character, I wouldn't talk until whoever is in the office stays for at least 1 year. Now, speaking on the efforts being made by the government to take the country out of the woods, the minister said only a few days ago we invited captains of industries, Dangote, the BUA, the Elumelu, and ministers, among others, as well as all locked themselves in a room for about 3.5 hours discussing now how Nigeria is going to get better. And everyone in that room, from the private sector, from the central government, and the subnationals, believe that this country is going to get better. And so he said, I urge you to see this in line with what Professor Wole Soyinka has said around what time. Of course, you can criticize, you can offer suggestions, but the country has to exist. Let us please talk about all those good things happening. It's not bad stories all the time. While stressing that economic challenges were not peculiar to Nigeria, the minister referenced the case of the United Kingdom, which recently slipped into a recession. And Idris said, Nigeria is going through hard times, as we see, but this is not new and peculiar to this country. All the issues we are discussing now are issues that are also being discussed around the world. Only a few weeks ago, we heard that the United Kingdom had gone into recession. I am glad that it did not happen here. Otherwise, the story will be, oh, Nigeria is in recession, as if it is going to be the end of the world for the country. Now, according to him, the incumbent administration started work on the first day in office. Other than that, the government believed that all the challenges plaguing the nation were for the country's good. He said, and I quote, the government of President Ahmed Tinubu, as you know, took bold steps from inception. The first one being that upon the resumption of office, one day, the president took away fuel subsidy. And the second one, he also brought clarification to the foreign exchange regime. Now, this suggests that two major issues have been eating deep into the economy. As someone put it, the economy was a dead horse by the time the president came in, so whether subsidy was removed or not, it will be a very challenging situation. The president took it very boldly, ensuring that this subsidy goes away for the benefit of all, and he was prepared from the one that it was not going to be an easy one. Okay, I don't know if you really follow these stories now, right in it. They're talking about economic downturn. They said the hardship will end very soon. They're telling aggrieved Nigerians because people are really worried because of the situation that is really, really on ground. They're assuring us that for as long as Nigeria has not really gone into recession, so that it is not really, that is not going to get better. Yeah, we're going to hear the stories. Although we're not going to talk about bad stories all the time, but we should have in mind that Nigeria is going to get better. How do you think this is, considering what is actually happening right now?
Oh, this is the hard one.
Honestly.
The hard one is that when you see the truth and you refuse to acknowledge the truth, I think you are not ready to help the truth, because the first line of treatment for any ailment is diagnosis. If we don't know what is wrong with a place, you won't know how to treat that place. We are not suffering from economic downtown. We are not suffering from recession. We are not suffering from economic hard times. We are suffering from hunger and food crisis. It is actually worse than economic downtown. There was a recession once in Nigeria in 2008. There was even a global recession. There was a recession once when Anambra, when Peter Obi was Anambra state governor, that Anambra was the only state not in recession then. We didn't go hungry. We could eat. We didn't have this kind of crisis. And there was no forex crisis. And we could eat. And fuel was not above board. The crisis we are going through right now is that there is a hunger crisis. The protest that you're seeing going on in Nigeria is the protest for cost of living, which is the basic one, food. For the three basic needs of man, food, clothing, and shelter, a man can survive with homeless, without a home. There are a lot of homeless people in the world. A man can wear one clothes for 10 years and wash it every day. You can even go naked, you won't die. But no man can survive without food. And hunger is no respecter of English. Hunger is no respecter of promises. Hunger is no respecter of policies. But the minister representing the president said one thing, that we should wait at least a year before, just like Wole Soyinka. He mentioned the background of Wole Soyinka. Wole Soyinka said he will start analyzing this government after 1 year. We talk about 1 year as if it is 365 days away. It's less than 90 days away. By May 29th, it will be 1 year. By March 29th, 28 days from today, it will be remaining 60 days. So it's actually 89 days from today. So how do Nigerians survive 89 days without food supply. How will you tell a hungry man to survive for 89 days? The greatest tragedy from what he said that he's not talking about is just last week here. 7 people or 6, is it 6 or 7, died at the custom point trying to buy rice for 10,000. It's not free rice, so as in to buy rice at 10,000 naira. 7 people lost their life. We shouldn't be talking about Nigerians being patient. We should be talking about Nigerians and the government declaring national mourning for those 7 people that lost their lives trying to buy rice at a cheaper rate of 10,000 naira. Not for free. If you now give rice for free in this country, that means 7 million people will die.
That's what I'm trying to say here now. Because if they were looking for the rice at the rate of 10,000 naira, and quite a number of people lost their lives. How much more when it's being declared free of charge? But at the same time, my worry is that if the FG is saying that the hardship is going to end very soon because it's really telling on Nigerians. As a matter of fact, some of my guests, one said we are actually in famine.
Yes.
Now, Nigeria is in famine, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, because you see, for you to eat 2 square meal a day here in Nigeria is quite difficult. Now, for them to say this is going to end very, very soon, is it for them to, and no measures have been put in place. What have they put in place for them to say, okay, now this is going to end very soon?
The only 2 measures that will help is measures of food.
Okay.
Recently, we
in
heard
abundance.
That some silos were opened and food was given, but we never saw anybody get a bag. At least when customs were selling 10,000, you saw people going there. When they say silos were opened, did you get? Did your neighbor get? The second thing is security. What is causing this famine in Nigeria is that insecurity have driven all our farmers away from the farm. And now the importation that was buffering our local consumption, the exchange rate has made it out of the reach of the ordinary poor citizen. So juxtapose insecurity with high exchange rate, you have a famine. And it's worse than economic recession. It's worse than COVID-19. It's worse than lockdown. It's worse than any other crisis you can think of economically. Food crisis is the worst kind of crisis.
Because that is actually what Nigerians are facing right now.
Yes, because
it's the hunger.
The cost of food has become so high, and the minimum wage has remained the same for how long, that a bag of rice that used to be about 15,000 or 25,000
is now about 75,000.
It's getting to 80. The last time I heard was 80,000. A bag of cement that used to be 5,000 got to 13. The FG, the FG even in time for them to bring it down. Fuel that used to be 198 is 750 in places. Some places 800. 1,000. So 1,000. So the imported goods. Okay, the crisis of even that is facing Nigeria. Do you know how many production companies have left Nigeria in the last 9 months? Pharmaceutical companies that have left Nigeria, and now, because they've left Nigeria, we have to buy drugs more expensive and buy food more expensive. And because the local farming is not working because of insecurity, we don't have substitutes. So it's actually a crisis. A lot of people have called for the government to declare a state of emergency for food, but if you declare a state of emergency, it won't produce food. Go and look for food and secure our farms. Simple.
Okay, I think at this point, you've really spoken well. You've really spoken well. But I just want to say, let's just call a quick break right now. In case you're just tuning in, you're just watching Press Roundtable on Atlantic Television Network. So when we come back, we have other stories like the Kano State stories. We're going to take more stories. Stay tuned.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on The Fact Today, only on ATN. From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on The Fact Today, only on ATN.
Welcome now back to Press Roundtable. Let's look at the stories coming from Kano State. Police arrest 132 armed robbery suspects, illicit drug dealers and kidnappers. The police command in Kano State has arrested 132 suspects for allegedly kidnapping, armed robbery and illicit drug dealing in 2 months in different parts of the state. We have arrested 65 suspected thugs, Yandaba, 22 suspected thieves, 25 suspected drug dealers, 11 kidnapping suspects, and 9 suspected illegal forest hawkers from January to date in different parts of the state. Commissioner of Police Hussaini Gumel told the News Agency of Nigeria in Kano on Friday that the command also arrested motor vehicle thieves, motorcycle thieves, tricycle thieves, human trafficking suspects, and suspected fraudsters, among others, during the period. Gumel also revealed that the command rescued 4 kidnap victims, 2 human trafficking victims, and recovered items and goods during the period. They include 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 locally made pump-action rifle, and 4 live cartridges. He said that from January 1 to date, all forms of major crimes such as armed robbery, kidnapping, cattle rustling, car theft, drug dealing, and thuggery had significantly been reduced in all parts of the state. The previous threats of daylight and night mobile phone armed robbery are now a story of the past, with no single record in the last 2 months. The police command has been supported to fight more than 2 decades of public outcry on cases of missing children, abduction and kidnapping of minors. The trend has been significantly surmounted as further efforts are ongoing to recover more and to unite the children with their biological parents, he said. Gumel also stated that the command was able to smash and dismantle trans-border syndicates of motor vehicles thieves with the arrest and recovery of a large number of vehicles. Now, this is coming from Kano State Police arresting 132 armed robbery suspects, illicit drug dealers, kidnapping, and all of that. I think it's a welcome development.
Yeah, at least some good news because, as I always say, if the our security agencies want to work, they work.
They work.
So any time crime is increasing, and you see a lot of hoodlums getting away with a lot of things, know that the security agencies are lethargic or indifferent. When they are actively, proactively working, they can do a lot of things. And when they are non-political, because sometimes they tend to forget their security work and start playing politics. When they are security conscious, they work. So kudos to the Kano State Police Command. We are hoping that other states can also follow suit and reduce this crime, because it's traumatic in Nigeria right now that not only are we facing hunger crisis, we're also facing security crisis. To travel from one point to the other, the fear of kidnapping, the fear of armed robbery is even exacerbating the already existing fear of going hungry, don't know what to eat the next day. So this is the two-way thing I told you about security and food. Thank God the Kano State Police Command is doing this. Kudos, they should do more.
But I think there's a nexus there. There's a nexus there because if you're hungry, definitely, I think that's what is really leading all those people into this crime and criminality, perpetrating this evil.
Yes.
Once you're hungry, because they will be like, okay, I cannot die alone. I have to go and source out food. I have to take it by force from people. So it boils down to the economy.
Yes, it boils down to hunger because
hunger.
Economics is the secondary to hunger. The primary thing is if you are hungry, you become angry and desperate. And an angry, desperate person can do anything to survive. So naturally, crime will increase when economic crisis increase. So that's why, as I said, the two-plunged solution of security and food, but food first before security, because no matter how you try to secure hungry people, they'll always be rowdy. Even poultry. If you've gone to a poultry farm and you've not fed your chicken, they'll be shouting and running all around. When you feed them, they'll sleep and be calm.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so for them to, have this massive arrest of these people, I think it's quite commendable so that other states could also borrow relief on how to secure their own states because this is 132 armed robbery suspect. Man, it's really on the high side.
Yes, it is. When the police, and the state is not still completely free of crime, when the police wants to work, they work. Like recently, I think it was yesterday, when the police was giving water to protesters.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the protesters were like, is this police? So when the police wants to work, they can work. So I'm sure that the criminals in Kano State are more than 132. So kudos to the police command. Please go after the rest too. They have not finished. And then other states can borrow a leave.
They should go ahead and fish them out.
Fish them out. If you can't fish them out, hunt them out.
And also, like in River State, I think they are really fishing them out here.
Yes, they need to because news like this increases confidence in people moving around. And then external people that want to go to Kano State have some semblance of confidence or peace of mind. Know that, if I go to Kano, I'll only battle with hunger, not insecurity. So River State needs to borrow a leave and wake up and begin to do this so that you won't be suffering the hunger and fear of insecurity. It causes, I just pray that happened in the Futo, where the stabbing will not increase because these things exacerbates traumas, and when a man is traumatized, they can do anything.
Yeah, they can do anything. Once you're not happy, once you're not doing what you're supposed to do, once you are afraid of everywhere, your neighborhood, your territory, man, you won't be at rest, you won't be at ease at all.
Yes.
So both River State, other states, even the governors, they have to beef up the security. Now that, in fact, let them go to the root of it. The root is the food, the hunger.
Exactly. That's it.
Once food is being made available, once people are having at least 2 square meals a day, I think it's going to go a long way in reducing this to the barest minimum.
Yes, and this is not time for government to keep protecting their exclusive trade agreements with industry players for food. Like, because of the rice pyramid and the Anchor Bolas program, there was an embargo on rice importation 2 years ago. And we had a lot of rice. Now there's no rice. To import, the government itself to import containers of rice and flood the market with the semblance of that customs rice. Why the customs rice costs stampede is that it can only be gotten in that custom office. If every state dumps, if the government dumps rice and every state governor buys like 5 billion naira or 10 billion naira worth of rice, and they are selling it maybe for 5,000 naira, and there are more than 1,000 outlets where you can buy rice. At least, even if we feed on only rice until that 1 year that the minister talked about in the FG, we can survive on rice from now till May 29 and see the magic that will happen then. But it is only when people have eaten that they can have hope. Hunger is no respecter of calendar, is no respecter of politics, is no respecter of promises, is no respecter of persons.
Okay, so that means, thank you, that's a wonderful one, because if they have to flood us with food, flood the state with food, I think it's going to go a long way in helping this, all these hoodlums. It's going to reduce. And
yes, and then we hear a lot of things from government. Part of what is making this protest happen is that we're in the information age, where you hear that a federal House of Rep member is buying a car. The federal government is buying a car for him for 160 million. You hear that the presidency is buying a yacht for 5 billion. If they import rice of 5 billion naira and share to Nigerians, how many are we? How many bags of rice will we finish before May 29th?
All right.
Then we'll believe the president and wait till May 29th.
Okay, now let's look at this one. Banditry Defense Minister calls for increased military operations against insurgency. Now, let's look at the stories. Following incessant attacks on communities, kidnappings occasioned by the activities of terrorists and bandits in the northwest of the country. The Minister of State for Defense, Bello Mohammed Matawale, has called for intensified operations against terrorists and bandits in the region. Matawale noted that the activities of these bandits have increased over time, especially in Kaduna, Katsina and Zamfara states, which has led to attacks on military personnel, loss of life and destruction of military hardware. Consequently, the minister has directed the Nigerian military to adopt a more proactive approach to decimating the activities of bandits and dealing with insecurity in the above-mentioned states, even as he emphasized the need for synergy amongst the services to be able to wipe out insurgency and other forms of criminality in the region. The minister reiterated the urgency of these operations, stating that the safety and well-being of our citizens remain paramount, and it is imperative that decisive action be taken to curb the menace of terrorism and banditry in our communities. Now, highlighting the significance of these operations beyond just security, Dr. Matawale underscored their role in fostering a conducive environment for agricultural activities to thrive. I don't know if you're
yes, we're hearing.
He said enhanced security in the region will not only safeguard the lives and properties of our people, but also improve the quality of farming and irrigation. He said the farmers will be able to cultivate their lands without fear of attacks, thus ensuring food security and economic prosperity for the region. He reaffirmed the commitment of President Bola Tinubu's government to tackling insecurity head-on and ensuring the safety and well-being of citizens. He also called for cooperation from all stakeholders, urging communities to support security agencies in their effort to rid the region of criminal elements. Consequently, the minister has directed the Nigerian military to adopt a more proactive approach to decimating the activities of these bandits and dealing with insecurity in those states that I mentioned. Now, this story, it has to do with banditry. The Minister of Defense calls for increased military operations against insurgency. Yes, because of what is actually happening now in the country. I think a lot of things has to be done with this when it comes to insecurity. You know.
The problem I have with this news is that they call. The problem I have with this news is they call. The minister is not supposed to be calling on the military. He's the Minister of Defense. He should be coming out to tell us that the military have now started a new operations that will reduce insurgency and be making promises. Not him calling on the military as if he's an outside player to the government. You know, like maybe me and you now calling on the state government, just like we called on River State Police Command to do as Kano did.
Yeah.
The problem I have with this news is you can't come out to the nation at this time and be telling us the minister is calling on the military. Who is the military? He's the Minister of Defense. They should be assuring us with results, not calls. People are dying. You should be telling us that maybe if the news headline read the Minister of Defense confirms that insurgency has been reduced and will be further reduced because of his intervention and the military. In the last week, if that 132 arrest that was done in Kano was bandits and terrorists, that in the last 1 week we've killed 132 people and they are showing us proof, we've recovered this territory, we've sent 100 farmers back to their farms. Nigerians, please have confidence, we are doing our best and we are going to improve our best. That would be heartwarming news. But Minister of Defense calling on military, it's like children are hungry and the father is calling on the mother to provide food. The mother is calling on the father to provide money. Will that solve the hunger? What the children want to hear is a done. What we want to hear is there is now security, not calls.
Okay, so it said what we want to see is action. We
Yes.
do not want to hear calls because you already have it. You have what it takes to ensure that all these things are being done. Instead of you calling out the military operations against insurgency, it is within your jurisdiction to take action. Just show Nigerians we want to commend them because they are actually trying. It's not really quite easy. But that's the much we can take here on Press Roundtable on Atlantic Television Network here. Honestly, I just want to thank you so very much. My ace, China, thank you so very much for coming
Angelic
today.
Angel, it's my pleasure.
Honestly, I appreciate your presence. And,
Thank you.
Now, our viewer, you want to stay connected on ATNs and socials and also like our page. You can follow and like our page on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net, on Facebook and on YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, and on Instagram and on TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. Also, you watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv, on our web, on an app, ATN Live, and on our YouTube and Facebook, Atlantic Television Network. Atlantic Television Network Press Roundtable, we provide at 8 o'clock coming up with Let's Talk, and 9 o'clock comes up the global news. That's at 9 p.m. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. My name is Angel Mokoma, and I want to thank the mayor. He's a media practitioner. I just want to thank you so much because you are into so many things. You are the mayor of housing. You are into real estate. You are also a practitioner. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next time we're going to do this together.
Yes, I hope to be back here and with more interesting stories that will be reassuring and not stories of calls.
All right. All right. Okay. Thank you so very much. Stay tuned and we enjoy you to watch Let's Talk on Atlantic Television Network. Good night.